Happy Friday, everyone. How is 2019 going for you? I am still sort of meticulously working through all the different spreads I want to set up for 2019, but I'm slowly getting them all filled out. So I thought I would do a quick tutorial. This will mostly focus on, I guess, the table tool and how I like to use it to create some of the trackers that I've been making in my planner. So this is how my 2019 is going so far. Habits are kind of all over the place. This is how my mood tracker is turning out for the year. And this is how my weekly spreads are working out. I'm actually kind of loving this weekly spread. It's kind of busy, but everything is where I need it to be. I don't have to flip around pages. And I think having the to-do list works out way better for me than trying to write down my task on each individual day, because sometimes I just don't feel like doing the task on that day. So I like having just a task list for the week, and I can kind of pick and choose as I go through my week. So those are how my main spreads are working out, and I've been working through some of the spreads I've been setting up in my health section here. And the one that I've been working on yesterday, I guess, and today is to start tracking my basal body temperature. In case we were discussing if we want to try to, have a kid later this year. And so just to have a good understanding of, my cycle tracking. So I decided I would start taking my body temperature every morning, and I made a spread for that. So I'm going to walk through how I set that up, and you could use that, for anything. If you want to create anything that's going to be kind of plotted on a graph, if you want to do how many hours of sleep you got or how many steps you took that day, or even a mood tracker on a scale of 1 to 10, or anything you want to do on any kind of a graph or something, you could use this method. So this is how I've been working through this. So I set up a tab here in my health section to track my body temperature, which will take me over here to this page that I started setting up. And so I decided, originally I thought, I was like, maybe I'll just put, one graph per page, and I'll just insert a bunch of blank pages and I'll swipe through them. But then I thought it'd be really cool to do subpages, because when I zoom back out, I could still see, the graph, and I can zoom in to put my my numbers in there. So I decided I would go with the subpages. So if you are new to subpages, in the upper right-hand corner where your little page button is, if you tap on that to open your page bar, that is where you can get the navigation for the subpages. So it is, I don't know if they still have that laser pointer thing that I used to use a long time ago. Is that still a thing, or did that go away? I don't know. So if you open your page tab, the button here, I guess I could write, the button right here will add subpages. So you can tap on that button and you will get a subpage. And since I have my planner set up to where all pages have the same layers, you can see the subpage will automatically come with the master layer with the 2 navigation buttons there. But that's it. I don't have it set to any kind of a default background or something, which you can do. You can set up page templates and apply them to your subpages if you want. But for the sake of this chart, I just need a blank page. So I just created the subpage, and then you can see I sized it down just like you would any other graphic or image, so that I could fit 6 on a page. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one for now. I already have January set up, but I figured I could start working on February over here. So I don't know if I want to go up or do I want to go from top to bottom or left to right? Let's go to the right for now. So if I double tap on this item here, it will take me into the sub page. And then with my page bar still open over there on the right, you can go down where it says Untitled at the bottom, open up the page properties, and I go up here and I turned on page has own layers just for this page. Don't set to all pages unless you want that, but I turned it on for this specific sub page and hit done. And then I just opened my layers tab and I just turned the navigation layer invisible. you could open it and make changes to it or delete it or, whatever you want to do if you don't want that there. But I just find it easiest to just open it, turn off the visibility, and it's gone. And now I can go about my day here. So I'm going to change down to my page layouts layer. And I always have all my other layers locked except the one I'm working on. So I can set up my layouts, and then later in I'll just come in and work on the writing layer and add my dots, I guess, for the day. So to start out, I go over to my table tool, and I'm going to set up the scale on the left. So I will hit style, and for the sake of making this video a little easier, I will just do a basic number scale. So one column and we'll just say 10 rows. And then I just do a basic border and no fill just so I can see what I am doing. And then you can draw that out, and I'll just leave that there for a second. Tap off of that. Go back into the table tool, and this time I will set up the bottom. So February would have 29 days this year, so 29 columns. Yep, I keep tapping off it, and 1 row, and then you can draw that. Okay, so this is going to be the two axes for your chart. So I can just put this one down here at the bottom, stretch it across the page. Maybe kind of take up that much space. And then this one I will place at the corner here. Actually, I always forget that I can't drag up because of the little blue square there. So I got to go up and drag down. And then just make them meet at the corner there. So now we kind of have the basis of our graph here. And then you can go into your text tool and pick a text. Just pick something here that's kind of simple. And then you can tap in the lower text box here on your column. And let's just say we'll just do a scale of 1 to 10. So what I like to do for the column is I like to have it align on the right hand side so that it goes along the axis here. So you can go into your text tool, go into customize, make sure that box mode is turned on. And then I like to do a right alignment for horizontal. And that will line it up along my line here. And then once you have it the way you like it, you can just tap off and then go up to the next one, and it will keep your settings. So you just tap in, type your number, tap off, tap in, type your number, and so forth. Okay. And so now you have that one, and you can do the same thing for the bottom, although normally the fonts can't quite be the same here because it won't fit. So we'll just have to scale this down quite a bit probably. Start with that. And then when I do my bottom, I like to do a center alignment. Yep. And I will not number all of these, but let's see. And somewhere in the middle here would be 15. I don't know exactly where, but for sake of argument. Okay, so you would number that across. Can't get my Zoom to work. Sometimes, is it just me? Like sometimes my fingers are so cold, my iPad does not acknowledge when I touch it. Okay, so then once I have my two scales, I would then create one more table. So let's go back to my table tool. And in this case, I want to do one additional column than I have along the bottom. So on the bottom, I made 29 columns. So this table will have 30. And then along the left-hand side, I had 10 rows, so I will do 11. So I just do one more than what I did for my top or my left and bottom tables. And then let's draw that out. Okay, so then what I do is I will line up this first line here with my 10. And then I will drag it down so that the last one lines up with the 1. And then you'll see it looks like this. The top will be way higher than your table, and the bottom will be way lower, if that makes sense. So I'm just doing the interior lines, and I'm ignoring the border for now. So I have it lined up with the 10 and the 1. And then at the bottom, I will line up the interior lines again. I will line it up with the 1 at the bottom and drag it over, and it's got to reposition it here. Line up the last one with the 29 down there. Okay, so it'll overlap and kind of look like this, which looks like a mess, but if I could actually drag this one a little bit further. Running out of space over here. Okay, so I just try to get it to be centered in all the boxes on the bottom, centered in all the boxes on the left. Okay, and then this is where I do my formatting. So the column on the left with the numbers 1 through 10, I will select that one, go back into my table tool, and at this point I would go to Style, and I would take the line opacity and just draw it all the way down to 0. And now there's no line around that. And I would do the same thing with the one at the bottom. Go to Style, take the line opacity all the way down to 0. And then you've got that one. And then the one in the middle. So for the one in the middle, you have a couple of different options. So first, you'll want to go over to the border, and you'll want to take the border scale and drag it down to 0. So if you take that and now you look at it, so now that box that was going around it is no longer visible. And then the second thing, in this case, I drug it off the page. So let me tap back on that table. Okay. So going back to Style, you could take the line opacity and bring it way, 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 way down if you wanted like a really light kind of graph paper look. In this case, I would probably spend some time maybe drawing some white boxes underneath it if I wanted to cover up those lines. If you wanted it to be, you know, graph paper like this, you could just take it, and I have a layer under my page layout. So you could move down to the page under it, and then you could draw like a really simple square along the bottom here and give it a fill. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. You would have to move your numbers to a different layer. That's what I meant. So let's cut that. You would have to put, you could always move the lines down to another layer if you wanted to. But on this layer, if you wanted to do that, you would have to do, you know, your white squares here along the bottom if you wanted to cover those up. And then you'd have to move the this table here with the numbers up a layer, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's an option if you, let me undo and get rid of that. If you wanted to keep it as like a graph paper and you don't like, you know, the extra lines around there. But what I like to do is, go back here. I like to change it to, go to Style and change it to dots. So now it just puts the dots all along the grid. And if you want, you could make it, you know, fully dark, but I like to leave it kind of light. So it's just enough there to give me some guidelines, but it's not distracting. And so now it's really easy to see where all of your lines are matching up. So you could go back to your writing layer, and then when you come in every day and you want to mark something, let's go down, I have a big pen down here. So today, what is today? The 10th. So you could go over, somewhere where the 10th is, and whatever it is you're tracking, you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the 10th here. And then you'd be able to see, you could follow that up if you were like, I'm going to mark today as a 7. You come up here and mark it. And so that way you get, a good clear layout of where your stuff goes. And then, as you move throughout the month, you get your graph. And then I would go back in and with the auto line, just draw connections here like so. And so that's how I've been setting up my basic graph. And then I added a little hyperlink on here just because I don't like to keep my page navigation open. So I wanted a hyperlink to get me out of here. Fingers crossed, I put in a request to Ed if he could add a link function that would take you up a level. So he said he would work on it. So fingers crossed we get that. But in the meantime, I added a text and I was using that big bubbly jelly crazy something. Yeah, jelly crazies. And I was just doing a B T to take me back. And what I like to do is kind of go back here, rotate it a little bit, and then copy it. Go into the second one, select color, and then drag it on top. Kind of give it a little shadow effect when I don't feel like actually creating stuff in Vectinator or Procreate. But that's a quick little way to kind of give it a little 3D look. And then go into my shape tool and draw a square over it. Go into my options, turn the border off so it's transparent, make sure the fill is turned off. And this is where I was talking about the function. I go here to function. And right now we have like next page and previous page, but I'm hoping he'll add one for, up a layer or I have no idea how he wants to word that. So it would navigate up. But for now, I can just go to link to a page, direct, and then this, there it is right there, and pick it and hit done. And so now when I tap on that one, it will take me back here. So the thing that I've noticed though, and the reason why I'm hoping he adds that functionality as opposed to using the hyperlink, if I double tap on my subpage, all of my items are there, but you can see if I tap on my link, there's nothing here. And I like that kind of real-time view so that at the end of the year, I can see all of them at a glance. So if you're in your subpage and you open your writing tool, you'll want to go to the little up arrow, this one right here. And so if I tap that one and it actually takes me up, you can see it updates in real time, which is what I like. So I'm probably going to end up using the page navigation tool when I use this, but for quick reference, if I'm trying to get in and out of this page, the link is there. If I don't have this open, I can tap on it, it'll take me back. But just know it's not going to actually update anything that you do until you actually hit that arrow and navigate up out of that page. And then that's how you will get your update. And then on this page, I just added a little header here. There we go. And there we go. And that's how I've been setting those up. So at the end of the year, I'll have all of my little charts here at a glance, and hopefully he'll add that functionality. So yeah, that's an easy way to make a kind of year at a glance layout in ZoomNotes using subpages and a couple of creative tables. So here's the one I actually put together. I didn't start it till yesterday, so I don't have my temperatures earlier in the year, but that's how I'm setting it up. So hopefully that was helpful or gives you an idea of maybe something you want to do in your spreads. So until next time, thank you.